Rick here with the Ditch Pig. Today's episode, we have a huge upgrade for power for the Ditch Pig. Just kidding, it's spark plugs. I know that doesn't seem like a huge upgrade, but if your plugs aren't great, your vehicle doesn't work that great either. It's time to upgrade them. They've been in there for a year and a half. The last ones that I bought were AC Delco Iridiums. Iridiums are great plugs. They have like a really high kilometer rating on them. You can go forever on the things, but they foul easy if you get like an excess of fuel. I'm not really sure if mine are still like up to par or not. These are just a regular copper core NGK. They're V power, but that really doesn't mean anything to me. This is the number I went with. You can go with a TR55. People really like those. The TR6s they're just a heat range lower. So anyway, that's what I got on for the day. Throw a set of plugs in this thing, take her out for a rip, see if it works any better. Hopefully it does. Not that it's running bad, it's running pretty good. It's just doesn't really seem to have the same snap to it. And I don't think it's just the tune that's in it. I think it's just not firing as good as it should. It's not a complete burn. So we're gonna see if that makes a difference. Another thing we've got on the go here is this Summit Racing box that showed up. I had mentioned before that on the community page that I had been a bad boy and I spent some money that I shouldn't have spent. This is what it is. I bought a full gauge package for the pig. So we got speedometer, tach, fuel gauge, they got water temperature, volts, and oil. I also picked up a power harness for 8 gauges. That's from Holley. The EFI gauge module, because these are Holley gauges made for EFI. They're designed for my computer that I'm running in the pig. So the beauty of these gauges is the simplicity of how they hook up. Like I say, I bought the EFI gauge module. You just plug that into the trigger wire on the computer and you can hook up your gauges to that through this module and it runs everything. On the back side of these gauges is these little inputs and they got what's called daisy chain. You just plug those in and they connect all your gauges together. Super simple, super easy. Like I say, I bought a power harness so I can hook them all together in series. I only need one power, one ground, and they're hooked up and functional. Yeah, they're a super nice gauge. Ever since I got the Holley, I was looking at these on the website and I was like, man, I really want to get those. Yeah, so I did. It was a lot of money, but at the end of the day, the gauges that go with my package, the EFI computer, the Holley Terminator X. Kind of funny because I was sitting there at work and I was going to order them and I was like, yeah, I don't know. And I had my finger over top the checkout button to like, you know, send the purchase through, and then I just sent it and got them. It's been over a year and a half since I've had gauges in this thing other than the handheld. It does a trick, but it's still not as nice as these EFI analog gauges. Yeah, like there's nothing in my pods. They're all empty. I had gauges when I had the Gen 1, but all I have is a speedometer, and as you can see, she don't even work. It had the fuel gauge there. That's where I'll put the tach. It should look pretty sweet. And after all those gauges are hooked up, I can still use my handheld for other gauges that I haven't bought in the actual analog gauge. I can just run whatever I want. I can completely customize that and put anything I want. There's got to be like 100 things that you can measure with this computer, right? Like all you need is a sensor for it and it'll measure it and you can put it on there. So I'll run stuff up there, plus I'll have the actual analog needle gauges, the sweeping needles. So super stoked. This is gonna be cool. So I did get a fuel gauge for this. Been like 15 years I've had this truck and I've never had a fuel gauge. I just kind of guess how much is in it and hopefully it works out. I've run out of gas more times than I've had fingers and toes. Basically with this, you just have the power that you'd plug into the harness and then your 2 wires for the sending unit. And it comes with a cable for that. Not sure how long it is. I haven't looked into that, but anyway, it comes with a cable. Just plugs into that. And then you just wire it to your sending unit. So when I do the fuel cell swap, that's what I'll do, because that comes with a sending unit on that. The tank that's in the truck now doesn't even have a sending unit anymore. It's gone. So that'd be kind of cool to have an actual working fuel gauge. So this was the most expensive gauge in the package that I bought. It's a GPS speedometer, so I don't have to have a cable. My truck hasn't had a speedometer cable on it the whole time I've owned it, pretty much. Actually, the spot where it hooks onto the T-case, I actually pulled that apart and welded it over so you couldn't put one on it, because with these big tires on it, it would never read right anyways. You can't recalibrate for something that size. So I just run it down the road using the tach as a reference. Okay, you know, like I'm at 2,000 RPM in third gear, I'm doing 50 kilometers an hour, right? 30 miles per hour, right? That's how I've been doing it for the last 15 years, so, and it's worked fine. But now I won't have to. This thing will tell me exactly how fast I'm going in miles per hour. Like I say, it works off a GPS. It's got an odometer on it to tell me how far I'm going. It's got the trip set. It's even got a couple other features too, like a 0 to 60 time. It'll actually tell me a quarter mile time if I set it and take off, which it'd be kind of interesting to see what this would do in a quarter mile. I'm sure it's nothing impressive. So yeah, the speedometer comes with a power cable, which I won't need because I actually bought the harness. It comes with your GPS antenna, which just plugs into the back here, threads onto that post. And the tachometer that I bought is got a 10,000 RPM limit. I don't need a 10,000 RPM with that 6-liter. I've got the rev limiter set to 6,800. The other tack is an 8,000 RPM limit, and it was actually more money. So I was like, well, I'll save a few bucks here if I can. I'll just get the 10 because it doesn't matter. I have the extra 2. You never know. Maybe someday the tack is pulled out and put in something else that does rev the 10. That'd be sick. That's the gauges that I bought. At some point in time, in the near future, I'm going to install these and I'll make a video for that. I just figured I'd show you guys what I bought, and yeah, these things are cool. It's going to be really nice having actual gauges again. I really like the old school style gauges and how they fit into the dash properly. So tricked out units, like say, is a fair amount of money, but it's worth it to me in the end because they're designed for the computer. They're designed to fit in the dash. It's just win-win-win. So yeah, now I'm going to put these plugs in. I'll get everything geared up, throw them in. I'll pull the iridiums out, throw these copper core in, and we'll see if it gives it a little bit more snap back to it. The biggest thing with the spark plugs on this thing is getting the boots off. Man, oh man. These boots like stick on like crazy. They suction right to it. That's the biggest hassle, other than that one plug that you need a wrench to get out, and it's a real bugger. Other than that, it's not too big of a deal. Alright, there's 2 plugs there. I just pulled this out of the #1 cylinder. You can see the electrode on that thing, how tiny it is. Iridium, right? And then the copper core one, way fatter. From what I've heard, these things will take the heat a lot better than these ones and cause less detonation, yada yada yada. You can put more timing to it. So these just are really efficient and last longer, I guess. But you don't have to believe me because, like I always say, I'm not an expert. This is just what I saw on the interweb. We'll give these TR6s a shot, see how they pan out. They got the old patented V-groove. I don't know if that makes any difference or not, but that's just the ones that they had, so I got those ones. And these are grooved to about 40. I think I'll just leave them there. Obviously, I'll check each one to make sure that they're all the same, but yeah, I think I'll just go with the 40. That's typically what I ran with the Gen 1 when I was putting plugs in that. I just run like a 40 or a 45. I didn't go like crazy and go up to like a 60 or something like that.
Okay, so #5 is the first one that I've run into, and it's the third one that I've done. That's a bit of a bugger. You gotta get at it somehow with the wrench. Put a 3/4 inch wrench on the end of the spark plug socket to get it broke loose. Can't back it out too far because you can't get the socket off the spark plug at that stage of the game. So you're just gonna kind of do this a little bit, and then hopefully it's loose enough you can get your fingers to do the rest. It's the curse of these headers, but I really do like the headers other than that.
And the way the plugs go into these aluminum heads, you can't get the wrench right on the plug itself. You got to use the socket in that form and fashion, so it's a pretty good time. Alright, we got them half done. Like I say, that #5 was a bugger, and it's really tedious to turn that by hand, just inch it along till you can get the socket back on, and then once the socket's on, then you use the wrench. It's pretty tedious. But this side shouldn't be too bad. No accessories or nothing like that. No brake lines. So should be just a straight shot, hopefully. Alright, she's got 8 V-Power NGK spark plugs in her now. I'm going to flash her up, see how it sounds. I mean, they should be good for at least 20-30 horse, maybe more, so let's hear how she sounds. Ooh, the battery doesn't sound real good. 10.6 volts. Ah! Sounds good to me. I'll take her for a little rip into town just to see how she works, get some heat into it. But yeah, sounds a little crisper to me. I'll know more after I drive it. Doesn't make any power until it hits 3 grand. Like I floor it right now and nothing happens. When I put it in second gear, it's right there. On the top end, it seems to pull pretty good. Yeah, it's the first time I've come onto it since I got it going again, right. Like any amount. Yeah. Anyway, folks, that's it for this video. The next one, I'll probably throw those gauges in the pods and get everything wired up. I'm getting super stoked for that. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit. See ya.